Is this the real life, or is this just a fictional reality? Hello and welcome back everyone after a long break. I've been traveling across space and time, visiting a whole bunch of crazy rapscallions and friends out there, and I do apologize, it did take me a little bit longer to get back to 2020, but if I'm honest, I wanted to miss the crazy part of the pandemic, so I thought I'd just come a little bit afterwards. And here I am. Missed the great toilet paper scarcity. That wasn't fun for anyone. I remember reading about that and thought, I'm not going to be there for that one. So here I am as everything starts to seemingly return back to normal. But look, just don't take that with a grain of salt. Now, this week and for this season, I'm pleased to say I have a great lineup, a great schedule of experienced designers, puzzle designers, puzzle and experience designers, escape room enthusiasts, and people of that nature, people of the puzzle experience design world. I got a whole bunch of great guests lined up. Our first one today is going to be Keziah Jarrett from Seraphim Escape. This is an escape room in Ipswich, which is located close to Brisbane in Queensland, Australia, where I'm from. And Seraphim Escape Rooms has the title of the scariest escape room in Brisbane. Potentially, I haven't checked, but you'll have to ask Keziah yourself. I think it's the scariest escape room in the state, if not even the country. I have been told it's quite scary. So Keziah has designed these. She's very passionate, probably one of the most passionate escape room designers and owners that I've met and that I know of. She just loves it. She really loves the user experience. So we have just a quick but in-depth chat about experience design, what's important, a little bit about what went into how she designed her latest room, and a few of the inspirations and things that she loves about experiencing escape rooms. So look, without much further ado, here's the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Let's begin. Keziah.
Right. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Keziah.
Thank you.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on to Fictional Reality, first episode of the new season. Woo woo!
No worries. Happy to be here. Oh, well, yeah, but whatever.
Well,
happy to be with you on the internet. So you want me to introduce myself? Yeah.
Yeah, please. Who are you? What do you do? What's your favorite
My name's
food?
Keziah. My name is Keziah. I own an escape room in Ipswich called Seraphim Escape. I do all the game design, set design, building, pretty much do everything here except for the tech, which my husband does. And I'm an escape room enthusiast, love escape rooms, played over 100 now. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
100 is a hell of a number. What is one takeaway? What's one thing you can say about having played 100 or more escape rooms? Like, does that make you a professional?
I would say yes, but that doesn't mean that I don't sometimes still fail games. I'd say it makes me a professional in I'm much more judgmental than I used to be. Like, as in, when there's like some games that I've played that have been absolutely amazing, and I have to like step back and see a room for what it is when it's not at that level sometimes,
Yeah.
Not be just so judgmental. So I'm a professional in that I'm more judgmental than I used to be. I used to love every single escape room I played, always. I feel like I'm a critic now.
Yeah, well, that you have done, it's fair to say, like, you're in a smaller tier of people, but that a lot of the escape rooms that you would have played had been built by people who have had less experience than you.
Yeah, but like when I started building escape rooms, I didn't have this much experience. But yeah, nowadays, yeah, I would say the majority of people who are building escape rooms have played less than me.
Yeah, absolutely.
An interesting thing. Yeah.
So you have designed 3-4 escape rooms, like just in terms of design?
I've designed a few more than that, but currently I have 3 escape rooms that are open at the venue I'm at. But I've probably designed like actual escape rooms, maybe 6.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So can you give us an outline of how you go about actually designing an escape room experience?
For me, the main thing I have like a process which I didn't realize until I'd done a few, and then I was like, oh, I do this the same every time. Usually I start with a general overall theme, and then I work on a story to match that theme, and then I kind of work out very vaguely what the puzzles will be, and how they fit into the story. And then the very last thing I do is create the puzzles. Often I will have finished the entire room without actually having finished the puzzles yet, because to me personally, I feel like the puzzles need to come last because they need to be cohesive with the rest of it. And you can't just throw a puzzle in and think that's going to be good enough. It needs to work in with the rest of the game. Yeah.
When you say work in, what do you mean?
So if there is a story, especially, like if there's a story throughout the game that you're going to learn, for example, let's just say in the story, the character, like the NPC, has a series of things that they did. You're going to have to sort of follow their steps to find out where they got to where they were, right? And so I feel like you can't just put in like random puzzles. You need to put in puzzles that are going to make sense as to what that NPC did first for you to know what to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
So,
especially if you're doing a murder mystery or something like that, you're going to have to follow murder mystery kind of clues. And generally speaking, you wouldn't find like a random cipher in a murder mystery room unless it makes sense to the story. And I feel like you need to know the story well before you can just throw puzzles in.
Yeah.
Sometimes a cipher can work in a murder mystery, but it depends on the NPCs, on the characters, and on the story.
Yeah, like a cipher works well in a murder mystery if it's like a Zodiac killer or like the serial killer who makes codes and ciphers.
Exactly.
So story, I agree. I think that story is like, one, really important to the enjoyment of the game, but two, really good way to like teach people how to interact with the room. What is your process for like delivering story? What are the elements you use to, so someone walks into your escape room, how do they how do they learn, okay, this is the world, this is the person. Yeah, how do they learn what the story is?
So a few ways. First of all, within the briefing, we normally tell the story. But then also, I feel like it should be different for every room. At the moment, for all of our rooms, we've got like a video. Like all of our rooms at the moment that we have running, the concept is that the reason you're stuck in there is because someone is challenging you, either the executioner or Santa, like someone's challenging you, which is a little bit different to a murder mystery. So like at the beginning of these games, you get an introduction, for example, from the executioner saying, this is why you're here. You have been bad, you've sinned, and you need to pay for your sins. So for those, I have an audio or a video play for the executioner, kind of like Saw style, you know, when like Saw comes up on the little TV. For our room that we're building at the moment, it's going to be quite different to that. We're going to go down more of we're going to use a little bit of augmented reality, a little bit of video, a little bit of audio because you're following a ghost, you know? So we're going to have like snippets of like the ghost talking, like you can hear her, or like you might see something in augmented reality that shows you the path that she's been down and you're going to have to follow that. Or we got a projector that will eventually actually show you the ghost when you save her. And also I really want to make the clues very cohesive to the story so that you learn about the character as you play. Like you learn the things that she likes, doesn't like, the things that scare her, you know, the reasons why she died, the reasons like the way that does that make sense?
Yeah. And like what inspired you then to want to make an escape room experience where a part of the experience, or like a big part of the experience, is learning about this person's like death and why they're a ghost? What was the inspiration?
A couple of escape rooms that I played in Melbourne specifically, Ukio's Crumbling Prince and Escape Room Melbourne's Fractured. Those games were very much storytelling games, and they did it so well. Very much through audio. Audio was a huge thing in those games. Like ethereal kind of audios, or like you're literally talking to an NPC, like a what do you call it, a scarecrow sometimes. But like through those games, I actually felt things beyond fun, scared, or, you know, the things you normally might feel in an escape room, excitement. I felt like a connection to the characters, and that made me think, I want to do that. I feel like the video games that I love, like Zelda, The Witcher, things like that, they have storylines, and for me personally, I connect with the characters, and I feel upset when bad things happen to the characters, or excited when good things happen. Like, I played The Witcher twice just because I wasn't happy with the ending that the main character had. I was like, this cannot happen to him. I need to do this again, you know, because I just cared so much about that character. And I want to try and cultivate that in a 1 hour experience in my escape room, because I just feel like those games are so memorable, not because of the puzzles, not even necessarily like the set design and stuff, they were good, but it was because I felt like I somewhat understood the character.
That's so interesting. I have had this intuition for a little while now, and I mean, it's easier said than done, isn't it? Creating like a character that you can emotionally connect to. And I guess writers talk about this a lot, about the character. Like, there's a certain point where they're writing the character where the character sort of starts making their own decisions, and they are just the medium for this being.
Well, the interesting thing about these two particular escape rooms is Ukio they've got like 10 crumbling princes coming, right? And he's written the stories for all of them. So he already knows the characters back to front because he wrote the stories. Escape Room Melbourne, the owner, Owen, it's based on his actual father. So again, he knows the character very intimately, you know? So like for me, I feel like to create a character, you have to write, beyond what's happening in the room, you need to understand the character. So another thing I learned from an owner from Labyrinth Escape Rooms in Sydney, she said that she writes these huge stories about the characters that you mostly don't learn about in the game.
Yeah.
But it's just so that you understand the character. So when you're writing the game, it's easier to create those, connections.
Yeah, right. Wow, this is all very, very fascinating. Do you think, so are you familiar with Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey?
No.
It's so Joseph Campbell was a sort of a historian and a philosopher in the sort of mid 20th century, and he sort of did a lot of research and did a lot of analyzing of ancient myths from all different indigenous cultures on the planet, as well as contemporary Western myths, and then discovered that there's a meta myth. Yeah. And so the hero's journey is just anything you see in any sort of popular film or book or character. It's that same thing where you meet the character, they get a call to an action, you know, they're dissatisfied with something, they get a chance to go on some adventure. That adventure pushes them, they change, they come back a different person. So
oh, that's cool. That's a cool way. I've never thought of that. So that's actually very helpful.
Indeed, yeah. And it's popped up. For me, every now and again, it pops up, especially when I go back into like, I wanted to be a writer in my early 20s and sort of discovered it then. And it keeps popping up. And the more I'm going down this narrative focus of creating experiences and finding the difficulty in that, like it is easy just to like put a whole bunch of puzzles together and put that effort onto the player of like, well, you figure it out. But really it's like, no, if I want them to engage with it, I need that narrative. And I'm just thinking like, how do you incorporate this feeling or this act structure of putting that player through that journey? Like either the player goes through the journey or the player watches the character of the experience. And I'm wondering it's in development at the moment, I know, but how do you anticipate connecting this like journey of the character? Like, is it through the puzzles? Is it through the narrative?
It's both. So, as you said, it is in development. So some of the things I say may end up not being the case. But basically, I want it to start out that you're like ghost hunters, but not ghost hunters to get rid of ghosts, but to like free the ghosts. Like ghosts are in purgatory, so you're going to try and find out what happens so she can be free because she's got unfinished business.
Right.
And so you're going to go in with just a little bit of information about her. And then throughout the game, I really want to use audio. So like ethereal, like you're listening to something from the past.
Right.
You know? And then also the augmented reality. We want the augmented reality to be incredibly basic, like basically just like a pulsing orb over what you need to work on next. But the idea with that being that the ghost is taking you on her journey because she got to a place and she needs you to find that place. So you need to take those steps. And then within that, the puzzles should hopefully frame that, like show you that some of that story as well. And then as you get through the game, I'm hoping that we can make the story a little bit more intense. So like a few little twists. Like you think that you figured it out and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay, that makes sense, but I wasn't expecting it, you know?
Right.
And then and also like as I said before, I want to have a projector in there. So when you free the ghost, she's going to like thank you for freeing her. And then maybe use that as well to show you the end of her story. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan, but yeah, it's a work in progress.
It sounds awesome. Like it sounds right up my alley of, especially, you know, I've got amateur numbers in terms of escape rooms, but I have thought for a while now that escape rooms, at least in Australia, when I first got into them, were very much like the arcades of the 1970s in the US. You know, they were just very simple objectives. And then as video games evolved over the next few decades, they started to become so story focused.
Yes.
And it seemed to me that escape room experiences, that's going to be their natural trajectory as well, is that
I agree.
Stories are going to have to be the main things that we really go on.
I feel very grateful that I got into it when it was still new in Australia because I feel like I don't know, as things change, people will change and stuff, but I don't know how I would have gotten to this point if I hadn't been through all of that. And I feel like the standard for escape rooms is going to keep rising and rising. And like some escape rooms that open are just not going to be, like they're going to be at the quality that we were at 4 or 5 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot harder for them to get to a higher standard, if that makes sense.
That's right. And hopefully they'll help you in the sense that as long as they don't drive people away, their standard will elevate you relatively. If you're years ahead of them in terms of at least quality and experience in the industry, people can go, oh, that was a fun, weird puzzle thing. It's like, well, if you want to see the real good shit, go to Keziah. Yeah,
well, yeah. I will say, like, one of my rooms, Atonement, I would say Atonement is without a doubt my best room for a few reasons, which I'm not going to tell you because it would give away a few things. But there are twists in Atonement that are shocking without being gory, scary, anything like that. Right. I mean, some people find it scary, but not like jump scary. And I love Atonement. And people think, like, I've been to escape rooms that are very high quality as far as set design and, very beautiful. And clearly they've put a lot of money into it. But if it's lacking the story, none of that matters.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It can still be a really average escape room, even though it looks so beautiful. Yeah. I don't know how much Atonement cost me. I'd rather not think about it, but it's still not even close to some, like everything was secondhand or very cheap, apart from, cameras or things that I really needed. And it was all done by me. and my husband. Yeah. So I think throwing money into it doesn't make a better experience.
Absolutely. And I think there's another relationship there where you can have a great story, but if the puzzles don't sort of like aren't augmenting the story, if it's like, then you miss out on the story. And I played one where I went in and it was just, I could tell the story was really cool based on, things I was picking up, but I couldn't piece the story together because I didn't understand what all the puzzles were doing. It was just a little bit too parallel for my liking. And I came out of it going sort of, oh yeah, that was a really cool story, but I didn't get any of that while I was playing the game because it was too much. It was too parallel of a room for me.
Yeah. I feel like definitely the more escape rooms I play, the more I get over the love of puzzles. Like I love puzzles. That's definitely part of it. But the more I play, the more it's like that barely matters. I mean, it does obviously, but that's not the there's so much more.
I'm finding the same thing even when I myself play games. Like I've been playing buying some online during COVID and just playing them at home. And it's that same old thing. It's fascinating to watch my own experience as a player, as someone who's like loves puzzles. To sort of put them second nature to wanting that story and it comes down to that emotional resonance. Like I want to resonate emotionally with the thing. I don't want to just like plug the things together for. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, that brings us into the next bit, which is for people out there who themselves want to design experiences, even if it's not an escape room or, just like something for their partner at home. Can you give us any sort of like either tips and tricks or what is a great place to start if we want to design our own experiences for people?
Okay, I will say some escape rooms I've designed. Like I said, I've done 6 like actual escape rooms, but I've done a lot of smaller experiences for friends or family, whatever. I would say what it would be super important because keep in mind, not everybody loves puzzles. Not everybody's good at puzzles. Is to make it relatively simple, fun, and linear. The reason I say linear is because if you're making an at-home experience, then you want people to be able to follow the path and make sense of it. And also, it doesn't have to be linear as long as, like I've done ones that are like you have to find 6 answers and you can find them in any order. But if it's like a treasure hunt style where you're trying to get to one thing to end up getting to the very last object, then I say linear. It's really good to, like, especially if you don't have that much experience with escape rooms, and even me having experience, to go online and look up escape room puzzles. The first link that comes up is 101 escape room puzzle ideas, right? You don't have to, like, they're just ideas, and they can give you a little start. Decide on how many locked things you want, how many, what, like the theme is good. So, for example, a Christmas gift, you don't have to follow a story for that because it's just for your friend or whatever. But if you just make it all Christmas themed, then that's good. You want to make a maths puzzle, make the maths puzzle Christmassy, put Christmas tree, whatever, stick to the theme of whatever you're doing. I did one for my husband that was like a The Office themed treasure hunt, and because we love The Office, and basically just sticking to that theme. The puzzles don't have to be hard, they don't have to be whatever, but just sticking to that theme makes it really fun and silly and entertaining.
I was reminded of that quote that I just heard recently again was a bad puzzle makes the designer feel smart, whereas a good puzzle makes the players feel smart.
Exactly. And what you want is to make the players feel smart. You don't want to make your players feel stupid.
No.
Like, nobody enjoys feeling stupid. So, yeah.
And I would say that something I come across a lot, as well as in the games design industry, is this there's maybe a subconscious feeling, sometimes a overt feeling that people want other people to go, wow, you are a really good game designer, or you're really smart, or this is such an incredible like design that you've come up with. And the only way people are going to have, in my opinion, the only way people will actually have that response, if they have that at all, is by them going, I feel so good. Like this has made me feel so great. And I've had emotions when I've been doing this thing. Maybe
absolutely.
then.
I totally agree. And like, I mean, when it comes to escape rooms specifically, because they have a time limit, I personally believe that it is important for teams to win. I want every single team to win, even if it means I need to give them 50 clues. I don't care. It's important for them to win because they are here. They've paid me money to have a good time, enjoy an experience, and experience it, you know? So for me, it's important for them to win. So even if it means adding extra time, giving extra hints, I don't care. They've paid to have fun, and I want them to have fun. The last thing I want, because I can hear them while they're in there, like there are microphones in the room so I can hear them. If I start hearing frustration in their voices, they're not having a good time anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to get in there before they start getting too frustrated and make sure that they enjoy themselves and that everything makes sense. And then the debrief after, explaining things to them. If they really didn't get it, normally if it's explained to them, they do. And they're like, of course, you know? And then again, they don't feel so stupid because they do actually understand it. They just didn't get it in the moment.
Man, that's something I found that was a real skill you had to develop, is coming in, especially when a team hasn't escaped or hasn't solved a puzzle, of being able to explain the room in a way that, and this comes down to, I think, good room design as well, good puzzle design, is when you explain the puzzles that they go, that's my fault. Yep. I should have done this. I should have done that. That makes a lot of sense.
I would have realized. Yeah. I would have been able to work that out if I'd have just realized. Like, yeah, exactly.
What's his
I've definitely done rooms with puzzles where I didn't get the puzzles, and then even afterwards when they were explained to me, I was like, okay, I kind of see what you've done, but I don't know how anyone would come to that conclusion, you know?
Yeah. Especially not in a tight, like with 5 minutes of time to be able to figure it out. Yeah. Well, that is great. Well, we'll keep this nice and short, but there's a heap of great information packed in there. Keep it simple. Try and keep it on theme. I think that's really important.
Yes.
And something I've taken away from what you've just...
Tell the story. That's the other one, yeah.
Tell the story. Let the puzzles augment the story.
Yeah.
I keep going back to video games, really, as a way to design experiences.
So that's what it is. It's a real life video game.
It's interesting that escape rooms and these immersive puzzle experiences have come after video games as an industry, because they require less technology than a video game.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But in some sense, I guess we just needed to sort of be just understand the concept of, I guess, being a protagonist in a story rather than just an audience member.
Yeah. Actually, that's a pretty good point. Like making teams go in feeling like they are the character in the game. They are the one doing the things. That's what sets it apart from a movie or a TV show. You are the person. You are the character. Yeah.
And you have to, and the stakes are on you. And I'm just imagining like putting a 17th century or an 18th century person into an escape room. They'd be like, well, I don't understand. I'm supposed to just sit here and enjoy it, my dear. It's like, no, you have to play it. Play? I do not play.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Well, that's great. Thank you for coming on, Kez. Is there anything you'd like to spruik to tell the good people about yourself?
No, not really. If you want to follow my Facebook, I haven't been posting much because I've been lazy, but I did want to say just before we end, I've seen your things with the cereal box puzzle.
The mystery
The
puffs?
cereal box is looking so cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I love the picture you put up this morning with the keys in the bowl. The locks in the bowl.
Look, there's a lot
really
to be played with. Thank you for pivoting this plug back onto me.
Well, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it this morning when I saw it. I was like thinking, I'm going to have to tell him because, I don't know, I just don't comment on things very much, you know?
Yeah, me too. Well, I appreciate it. And the mystery puffs are my experiment in one. I've sold a lot of envelopes filled with mysteries, and some of them, which I'm not proud of this, but they've gone out with flaws in them. Let's just say. I sold like 5 puzzles once, and then like 3 days later, someone's like, "Hey, I'm having real trouble with this." And I just realized I didn't put a crucial element in this envelope. And I've been expecting 4 more people to contact me to be like, we can't solve this. We don't get it. No one has done it. No one has contacted me. And anyway, I'm going on a big tangent, but it's an attempt to try and get people to engage from the get-go, make them go, I want to open this. I want to play this game. I want to get involved with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like it.
Alrighty, I'm going to stop recording. Thank you very much, Kez. This will be the end of the interview, but we will continue to chat after here. And for anyone that's interested in hearing the rest of what we talk about, unfortunately, there is no behind the scenes, so you just won't know.
You miss out.
You're
welcome for bringing it up.
You'll have to come to the Escape Room Enthusiasts secret brunch that doesn't yet exist.
Okay, yeah, come to that.
All right.
We'll see you then.
Au revoir, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone in between. Keziah Jarrett from Seraphim Escape. Great interview. She's a great friend of mine, and we get along like a house on fire. If you're interested in following either of us, feel free to check out her Instagram at Seraphim Escape, or come and check out the progress of my puzzles and immersive experiences over at The Puzzled Maker at Instagram. That's my Instagram hashtag. Check out my website, puzzledreality.com, or this interview is also being uploaded onto Spotify, and if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on Spotify, it's on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's on Spotify. So you can get it in both places. Thank you for listening. Feel free to give this a like, give it a rating, tell your friends. I'm going to be giving you more short episodes about how to create immersive designs and immersive experiences. So catch you next time. Thank you, everyone.